Page 10, Mysterious Story. You have a new dynamic sign here. I would think that you would have these introduced in the method book, but I don't know what they're doing. So PP, 2 P's, pianissimo, very soft. Now keep in mind that 2 P's, PP, is not twice as soft as 1 P. You don't multiply them. It's just a little softer than 1 P. So you got soft and you got very soft, because we got to have more P's than this. I'll do the dynamics later, so we'll talk about that a little later. So I want to look it over. It's 2 pages long, treble and bass clef, 3/4 time signature now, just counting to 3 now. And I got quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes. So we got a few accidentals stuck in there. All right. Let's take it one hand at a time and make sure we understand what each hand is doing. So we're moving around a little bit. At the beginning in the right hand, it's a C and an E flat. So we're in this position to start. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then it's C and a D. Okay, isn't this fun? That takes you all the way through the page. The last measure on page 10 is the same notes. But then on page 11, you got a G and a B, so you got to come up here. You got 1 beat rest to come up here, so now you're up here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh boy. Well, second line, last measure, they want a E and then an F, and then a rest, you come back down here. No, I don't want to do that. You're using a beginner fingering, but I would rather you learn a good fingering. So, second line, last measure, I would not do here. I'm going to have to move to come down here for the next measure anyway. So I want to prepare for that. So rather than 1 and 3, I'm going to use 3 and 5. I'm just going to come down during the rest. Because the measure before you were here, during the rest you come down here. 3 and 5, and then 2 and 5. And now when you come down, you're just coming down a little bit. Just a little bit. You're not coming from here to here. I'm coming from here to here. I think that's a better fingering. Here and then here than what they're suggesting. And the third line, they don't need the natural sign. It's an E natural anyway. But you had an E flat a couple measures before, so they're being nice to you. Although that flat is in the other staff, and that wouldn't apply to you anyway. So, I mean, each staff has to have its own set of symbols. Left hand gets some melody. You're here. It's 1 and 2 and 3, and then an E flat, and 2 and crossover. You're not moving the hand, you're just crossing over here, because the next measure is thumb again. 2 and 3 and second line, 1 and 2 and. Looks like all the E's are flat. 1 and 2 and. Okay, well, it explains that. Now at the end of the page there, here, you got 2 beats rest to come down here, and for top of page 11. It's the same thing, just in a different key. Okay. Now into the second line, you're here. 2, during the rest you come back up, like you were on page 10. That's an E natural. They don't need the natural sign there. It's the third line down, second measure. They don't. It's a natural anyway. But you've been doing E flats all the time. Okay, it doesn't hurt anything. It just isn't necessary. Now, third line down, last measure. They want 5 because you were here on second. And they want 5 here. But going to the next line, they want thumb. It's a repeated note. We're going to play the D again. And this is standard fingering practice we use a lot in piano. When you have repeated notes, you can change hand positions on the repeated notes to get ready for what's coming. So here, we're going to use thumb on the 4th line. This way, we're in position. And then they want thumb again, crunch down again. A flat there. At the bottom, second measure, again, thumb, to get ready for the C. A little C. You need to know that C. Just 2 ledger lines below bass clef is a C. Just memorize it. And that's tied for the rest of the piece. So put the hands together here. 1 and 2 and 3. Make sure you lift up in the right hand for the rest. Again. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and. about as tricky as it gets. At the bottom of page 11, the last line, you're here. Here you can stay there, and then to here. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. See, I'm playing the right hand notes because they're not tied, but I'm holding the left hand down because it is tied. And then the fermata at the end, you just hold that out and let it die away. And because we're really soft here, you can just let it die away. It shouldn't take too long if you're really soft. Now once you have the hands working and the rhythms and the notes okay, the fingering worked out, then I think about the articulation. In the right hand, just play them. You can't connect them, just play them. Here we have phrasing. Lift up, lift up, lift up. Just lift up between the phrases and the melody. Then once I got the articulation down, I think about the dynamics. P is piano, and it applies to the melody, which is the right hand or left hand. And you have the hairpin to go up. It doesn't tell you how loud to get. You go up to about a moderately soft, moderately loud hand. 2, 3. That's your target. That's the loudest one. And then come down. Then come down. See that the hairpin in that third measure applies more for the right hands because the right hand's in the background, but you can still get it a little louder and softer. So I can do it. I come down. Soft. And then second line, it's pianissimo. Now you're very soft. You're super soft in the right hand. Third line, mezzo forte now, moderately loud. You're going up to loud. And here, and back. No, next line is soft. And you have the hairpin there at the last two measures of the page where you're going to go up to loud. Here, this dies away. You can't do anything with it. And this is super soft, and you just gradually get a little softer. Go up to about a moderately soft to moderately loud in there. Here's really soft, little, because then on page 11, that's loud. You don't want the left hand to get as loud as the right, but you can still get the left hand a little louder. So the loud, and then this is sort of a moderately soft to moderately. And the accent note is going to take it up to a very loud note in the third measure. And third line, moderately loud in the left hand. And you're going to go up to loud. Accent and note makes it very loud. You're still loud. Now go down. Now you're soft. Very soft. And you just let it die away. How soft can you play? Don't use the soft pedal, that's cheating. You gotta learn to do this with the hands. How soft can you play a note? Or notes if you're playing more than one. It's just very light, very little weight's going down. If you can push the note down slowly, on an acoustic piano, if the slower the key goes down, the softer the note. On an electronic, I'm not so sure how that works. Once I have an idea of the dynamics, then I think about the speed. On Dante Moderato, they're still mixing them up, aren't they? You have a moderate and then you have a stroll, like easy moderate. Kind of a one. Does that feel too slow? To me, that feels a little slow. Because we're not talking about the speed of the beat, we're talking about the overall feel. And these dotted half notes will last too long. So we got to speed it up a little bit for those. To me, that's a little more like it. Now, that means the beat is 1, 2, 3, and you think, no, that's not a leisure. But again, it's not the speed of the beat, it's the feel of the piece, and we have a lot of dotted half notes in here, and that's going to speed it up a little bit. Now when you get to the fourth line on page 11, there's a ritardando to slow down. Slow down, and to adagio is slow, so you're going to slow down to adagio here. And ritardato at the end even more, slow down. And you're going to wonder, is this ever going to end? Because you're slowing down as you're doing this, and it's just... But if you do it really, really, really super soft like you're supposed to, you can just hold it down at the end until the sound dies away, because it's a fermata. If I do it with a metronome on the fermata, I'll hold it 6 counts instead of 3, but when you're just doing it, you just let it die away. Now on top of all that, they've added pedal. I always learn a piece without pedal first to make sure the fingers are doing everything they need to do. If you're going to use pedal, understand why you're using it or don't use it, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of teachers don't even teach why you use pedal. They just say, push the pedal down here and lift it up here. In this case, when we play a note on a piano, it just kind of dies away. It sits there and dies away. But if we can add some color to it, it makes it a little more interesting. So up here, or, see, when you can add the overtones to it, it gives a little more. And that's, for the most part, why we're doing that here. On the dotted half notes, we're giving them color. I don't know that I totally agree with what they're doing, but let's just go with it. The first line here. Push the note down first and then the pedal. I want to start the sound before I release the overtones. And lift it as you play the next note. Now, they haven't taught you the symbols for using pedal like you need to use it. And it seems to me like you're better off not using pedal if you can't use it correctly. So in my opinion, I want to teach you a little bit here on pedal. It's called a change pedal. It's where you lift the pedal up and put it right back down. You're changing it. You're killing all the overtones that were there and putting it down to start new overtones. So in the third measure, you have it down. And then right after I play the next note in the next measure, I lift the pedal up and put it right back down. Right back down. It connects the notes. And it doesn't smear them. Otherwise, you get all that. You don't want all that. So it's here, and then push the note down, and then change it. And then at the end of the line, lift it up. It's a new phrase. Lift it up with the hand. And I'm going to do that on some of these where they have 2 measures of both pedal. I'm going to do a change pedal in between. So the first line is that. So that's what I'm going to recommend here. Don't copy me, please. You got to get into the music. You get past the mechanics. You're not worried about mechanics. You're starting to get into this melody, and you feel the dynamics, and you understand the whole effect of it, and you make it yours. I'd like to play it very slowly and have you play along to check your notes and rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics, just notes and rhythms, and I'll pedal it as I suggested. So I'll give us 3 counts, and let's just play it together slowly. Now I can't change speeds. We got to stay with the metronome, so we're just going to do 1 speed throughout. 1, ready, go.